Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Let's hear it. Shabbat, Shabbat, that's it. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here at Temple Aliyah in the sanctuary. And those of you who are joining us by the miracle of live streaming, it's so nice to be able to share the Shabbat afternoon, or depending where you are in the world, right? It could be in Israel, and it could be Motzei Shabbat, it could be middle of night. Whatever it is, we welcome everybody. It's amazing how this time has sort of, if you created an equality amongst people. Wherever you are, you can join a moment. So we want you to do for the next services, we want next hours to be present, to be fully engaged here, a holy hour. So what we want you to do is, if your phones have not yet turned off, we'd love you to turn them off, make sure. And if you're out there, by the way, and you're doing emails at the same time you're watching the service, let's stop that. All right? Like, I know we love that. How many of you have gotten more done during your meetings, right, in the last year than ever before, right? You can do 3 different things. Pretend to follow a meeting and then to send your emails. But let's be in the moment here with Ryan and her family to be able to celebrate this great occasion. Every Shabbat, by the way, in the afternoon, we read from the Torah. That gives an opportunity to have a bar bat mitzvah to be able to come forward and to recite blessings and to demonstrate to community that they are now part of this community and all that it entails. So you'll see some of us, by the way. In the morning service, we were just here a couple hours ago. Everybody of bar bat mitzvah age would have been wearing a talit. That would have been customary. But in the afternoon, it's not the custom, except for those who are coming up to the Torah itself. So you'll see some of us wearing a talit and some of us not wearing one. That's the reason why. We're going to begin. Ryan, you're going to come forward to lead us in Ashrei, which is on page 214. So it's in the prayer book, the Lev Shalem. And those of you at home, if you are using this prayer book, or if you've downloaded it from the Rabbinical Assembly website, you'll be able to follow along. Page 214. You're going to be facing the congregation for this one. All right? And Ryan's going to share in the English. I've asked her to do it. And we're going to respond on the alternate stanzas. So, Ryan, take it away.
Joyous are they who dwell in your house. They shall praise you forever.
Joyous the people who are so favored. Joyous the people whose God is Adonai.
I exalt you, my God, my sovereign. I praise your name always.
Every day I praise you, glorifying your name always.
Great is Adonai, greatly to be praised, though your greatness is unfathomable.
One generation praises your works to another, telling of your mighty deeds.
I would speak of your majestic glory and of your wondrous acts.
Generations speak of your awe-inspiring deeds. I too shall recount your greatness.
They recount your great goodness and sing of your righteousness.
Adonai is merciful and compassionate, patient and abounding in love.
Adonai is good to all, and God's mercy embraces all of creation.
All of creation acknowledges you. The faithful bless you.
They speak of your glory, of your sovereignty, and tell of your might.
Proclaiming to humanity your mighty deeds and the glory of your majestic sovereignty.
Your sovereignty is eternal. Your dominion endures in every generation.
Adonai supports all who falter and lifts up all who are bent down.
The eyes of all look hopefully to you, and you provide them nourishment in its proper time.
Opening your hand, you satisfy with contentment all that lives.
Adonai is righteous in all that is done, faithful to all creation.
Adonai is near to all who call sincerely.
God fulfills the desire of those who are faithful, listening to their cries, rescuing them.
Adonai watches over all who love the Holy One, but will destroy all the wicked.
My mouth shall utter praise of Adonai. May all that is mortal praise God's name forever and ever.
All right, thank you, Ryan. You can go back. You can put the mask back on. Oh, it's down there. Good. That's all right. Chazan, we continue with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
אמן.
ויעמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
So for those of you who are watching us through the live stream, you should know that while we are up here, the cantor and I, or any people who are participating in the service today, and you see us without masks, we're still adhering to all of the conditions here in the county of Los Angeles, which requires still, until this coming week, we hope, masks for everybody. And so everybody's wearing their masks here until they come forward, and everyone adhering to these conditions. And God willing, we continue to get out of this pandemic and to begin to get back to life as it were. Still cognizant, by the way, of many people still in this country and around the world especially who aren't out, and that there is still much work to be done in ending this pandemic. So we're going to take out the Torah. In former days, we would have walked it down. Everybody would have climbed over each other to touch it, right? You can't imagine that we're going to be doing that at this pandemic moment. God willing, one day we'll be able to do it again. But we are going to take out the Torah from the Ark. So I'm going to call forward Jeffrey and Jonathan, Michelle, Madeline, and Benjamin Nadell. If you will, you're going to come forward. And when the Ark is opened in just a moment, yeah, you can wear your mask up here. It's okay for now. It's because I'm going to be up there with you taking out the Torah. All right. As soon as the Ark is open, you're all going to rise at that moment. And you at home too, you're welcome to rise and satisfy and reflect the dignity of this Torah service as we open the Ark and rise, please.
על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד.
You may be seated. Those of you who'd like, who are here in the sanctuary, if you want to now get to that larger red book, the Chumash, you'll be able to follow the Torah reading. You can do that. And those of you at home, you can put down whatever prayer book you are utilizing or looking at. If you want to take out the Torah text, the one that we use, the Eitz Chaim, will give you pages. So you'll be starting on page 860. But whatever, the great thing about a Torah, a Bible, you just have to look it up. The book of Numbers, we are in chapter 16, verse 1 is where we're going to be started. Ryan's going to be sharing with us later, Ryan, don't get nervous yet, about the portion, and you're talking about Korach, correct? We'll be talking about the rebellion of Korach and everything that's happened. And I don't want to take anything away from Ryan's talk, her Dvar Torah, which literally means words of Torah. But to understand the portion, you really have to understand what happened this morning in our Torah reading. This morning in our Torah reading, the Israelites actually got to the Promised Land. Now, I hope many of you would know that they were not supposed to wander for 40 years. That was not the plan. Shortly, probably a year and a half later, they actually got to the Promised Land. They were supposed to go right in. And then there's this whole episode of where they send in some people to scout out the land. They come back with what's called the evil report. They start wailing and crying, we'll never be able to do it, we don't have faith. And then God says, you want to cry? I'm going to give you a reason to cry. You're not going in. Right? Sorry, you're going to have to wander now for these 40 years, and you're going to have another generation that's ready to have the faith and to get into this land. So it's a pivotal turning moment. I mean, I want all of you to imagine you're the Israelites, okay? Those of you at home, you're Israelites. You've been marching for a long time. It's not the greatest place that you've been through, right? Through all this wilderness. You've gotten manna to live by, right? Whatever grows on the ground. Water is very scarce. There's some episodes of where they hit a rock in order to get water. And all of a sudden, you get to the Promised Land and you're told you're not going in, and you're going to have to wander for about another 38 or so years. How are you going to be feeling? You're not going to be feeling so good, are you? All right, you're not going to be happy. And so they start in their wandering. And so it's going to be Ryan, I think you'll understand as well, the context. All of a sudden now, people are trying to scapegoat one another. They're trying to blame each other for certain things that they might not have done before. Things are getting so tense. Things are getting so, if you will, uncontrolled because of what's happening that people just are losing themselves. Does it sound like what happens today with people? When things get tough, isn't it the case that we start blaming other people for things? We start blaming a certain ethnic group for a flu that is here, and we start, right, some anti-Asian acts of hatred. Right? Something happens in the Middle East with Hamas, a terrorist organization in Israel, and then anti-Semitism comes up again. We all know that a bad economy gets people blaming somebody for the bad economy. Just look at Nazi Germany. Right? Those of you who have family who survived the Holocaust, who are here, who know, right? When things go bad, you want to scapegoat people. You want to blame them for a condition that they're not responsible for. That's how I see the setup today. Right? Isn't that an interesting setup that all of a sudden now the people are they're angry and they want to start blaming others for what's going wrong with their lives. That for me is an important lesson of this week's Torah reading. And Ryan's going to share some very beautiful words later. In the meantime, why don't you come forward, Ryan? Bring your mom and dad with you, will you? Sarah and Todd, if you'll come forward, bring your speeches and that talit for her. And they're going to share some words with their daughter and then present her with the talit.
So I've been emotional for the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to keep it together today.
There's actually a bet out there how far you're going to get. So everybody,
not very far.
start the watch right now. All right, we'll see who wins.
All right, you and me, kid. Dear Ryan, we could not be prouder to be standing on the bima with you today. 13 years ago, Daddy and I invited our family and our close friends to join us in the same synagogue with Rabbi Vogel for your baby naming. You wore a pink dress, and Rabbi Vogel lifted you up as you began your journey as a Jewish member of our community, given the name Rivka Chaya. Don't cry. Hang in there. Now, this was not just any name. You received your Hebrew and English name after my beloved mother, who we lost shortly before your birth. Like our traditions and our heritage, your name has strong roots. Rivka, or Rebecca, from our Torah, and Chaya, meaning for life. Ryan, you have achieved so much in these past 13 years. You were born with an old soul, an understanding of people, a warmness behind your smile. You are kind, patient, passionate, and loyal. You have been a loving and doting daughter, protective, playful, and encouraging big sister, and a friend to all who know you. You enter situations as shy and observant until you are comfortable enough to open up and show your hilarious, silly, and carefree spirit. You are perceptive and bright and relentless on topics that you feel strongly about. When people comment on your outer beauty, I hope they are seeing everything from within you shine through. You come from two very strong families who have endured challenges and overcome many hardships. Your great-grandparents were Holocaust survivors who worked tirelessly to provide a better life for their children and their children's children. As my beloved Saba would have said, we do everything for you. You are our investment. A few words of advice as you continue along your journey. It is natural to recognize those who seem to have more than you. Do not lose sight of how far you have come. Look to those who need a helping hand and offer it. When there are difficult or scary moments in life, pay attention to how much good there is in the world, people willing to show up, stand up for others, and fight for what is right. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, you were 6 years old. You couldn't comprehend much of what was happening, but you made sure you were always there to help. At 10 years old, you joined our efforts to raise awareness and funds to fight women's cancers at the City of Hope. Because in your words, you wanted to help other mommies get better. Just as in your Torah portion today, the lesson is to stay on your path. It is your destination, and you will achieve your goals. Do not allow others to derail you. Stay your course. Trust your gut, your mind, and your heart. Your family, loved ones, and community will be there to guide and support you. You have been such an extraordinary blessing to our family. You should only know health, happiness, and great adventures in life. We love you so very much. Mazal tov, sweet girl.
Yeah, give your mom a hug. There you go. Did anybody bet that she'd actually make it through the whole thing? I don't think anybody had that one. No. All right. Todd, your turn. Good luck.
I said I wasn't going to cry, but your mother ruined that for me.
Just get close to that microphone, turn it up a little
Sorry.
bit so we can turn it up towards you. You can do that. There you go.
Ryan, I too am in disbelief that 13 years have passed and I'm standing here on the bima with your mother and you on your bat mitzvah. In the eyes of the Jewish tradition, you are now a young adult, but to your mother and me, you will always be our little girl who has reignited a sparkle in our lives as we get to relive our childhood through your eyes. From the moment you arrived, you took center stage and have been playing a lead role in the musical of our lives ever since. To say that you are an exceptional soul is an understatement. Many would describe you as an old soul, as your mother had said, with the gift of making everyone around you feel unique, heard, and the most important person in the room. You are humorous, a little quirky, entertaining, sensitive, and compassionate, all of which make up your magnetic personality, bringing smiles and a sense of joy to everyone you interact with. You are the best big sister to your younger brothers, Asher and Connor, and the daughter of two incredibly proud and amazing parents. Your immediate and extended family cherish and love you. In any new situation you find yourself in, you present yourself as a little shy and timid until you are comfortable with your surroundings. What most do not realize is that you possess the determination of an unstoppable freight train. You are goal-oriented and always work tirelessly to achieve your objectives you have set for yourself. The greater the challenge, the more motivated you become, a great personality attribute that will take you far in life. You never disappoint, and watching you come into your own has brought us great joy and jubilation. Today you've achieved another milestone. You are a bar mitzvah. Sharing this day with you, family, and friends is an incredible feeling, and you have made us so proud. As a big achievement as today is, celebrating your bat mitzvah does not signify the end of your Jewish education and personal growth. Today is only the beginning of your life's journey, and I hope you will apply the stories and lessons learned from your many years of Jewish studies and apply them to your life, helping to guide and mold you into the type of person you want to become as an adult. And as you become an adult, I want you to know that you have the power to become anybody you want in life. Only you can determine your destiny and the type of person you want to become. Surround yourself with people who empower you, build you up, not tear you down, and support your goals. Embrace other points of view, even if they're different from your own, and understand that you do not know everything, and everyone has something new to teach you. Find your passion, never be afraid to try new things, and never, ever be fearful to fail. You will always miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. Most importantly, always try to find the positive in any life situation, good or bad. Your future is so bright. We will always be here to support you, provide guidance when needed, help you in all your endeavors, and most importantly, love you unconditionally. Don't cry. Today is a giant accomplishment, and we are so, so proud of you. Mazel tov.
There you go. Give your dad a hug. All right. You're going to take the talit from your mom and dad now. And Todd, if you'll move the microphone the other direction, right, so that she'll be able to recite the blessing into it. Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead. You take that talit now from generation to generation. Turn towards the microphone. Recite the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahitatev b'tzitzit.
Amen. All right, the Torah reading again, those of you following along, page 860, beginning chapter 16, verse 1. The Chazan calls up the Torah readers.
יעמדו אהרון מלך בן פסח ויוחנה ושרה בת ראובן ופרומה רבקה ראשון.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We had it. Hold on. Yep.
Oh, it turned. It's right here. Thank you.
Vayikal HaKorach ben Yitzhar ben Kahatz ben Levi v'Dantan v'la Aviram ben Eliyav ve'on ben Pelet v'nei Reuven vayikumu lifnei Moshe ve'anasim b'nei Yisrael chamesim u'metayim nisi'ei edah Kiri'ei mo'ed on Shem Vayikalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon Vayomaru al Chechem Rav lachem Ki kol ha'etah Hulam kedoshim Uvtocham Adonai Umedua titnaseu Al Geho Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nota betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, Esther, Paul, and Jan, you're going to be joining us for the blessings, and Jeffrey, you're going to do the Torah reading.
Ya'amdu Esther bat Yechezkel v'Ana v'Pesach ben Chaim v'Yochana bat Reuven she'ani.
Do we do? Baruch et Adonai Amvarach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber el korach ve'al kol adato le'emor boker v'yada Adonai et asher lo ve'et hakadosh v'akriv elav ve'et asher ichar bo v'akriv elav zot asu ulachem maktot korach v'kol adato udnu ahen esh v'simu Alein ketoret lifnei Adonai achar v'haya ha'ish asher yuchar Adonai hu hakadosh rav lechem b'nei Levi. Take the corner of your toe. Come over and touch. Touch over there. Touch there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Abachura Abat mitzvah Talmud Rivka Chaya bat Aaron melech v'Sara shlishi
Was that long enough for you? Or we can do it again if you like, Ryan, for you. Before she begins with the Torah reading itself, those of you who have candy, it's going to be at the end of this Aliyah. When she concludes it, we'll let you know, give you a little motion for you to lovingly share that sweetness with her. In the meantime, Ryan, share these words of Torah with us before you do your Torah reading.
Okay. My Torah portion is about the rebel Korach. This story shares the conflict between people siding with opposing leaders and following their minds and hearts. When the Jews were slaves in Egypt, Moses, who got a sign from God to go save his people, it was hard work, but soon enough the Jews were heading to the land of milk and honey, Israel. It had been days, weeks, months, but still only desert as far as they could see. Korach stood up to Moses, challenging, "After all this time, walking and wondering, you promised us a land, and I don't see any land." He asked Moses, who put him in charge. He announced to the people that he would be 10 times better than Moses would ever be. I say we go to Adonai and see who should be the new leader. And that is exactly what happened. The group of people who were finally free of Egypt chose sides between Korach and Moses. Adonai knew that Moses was the chosen one and saw Korach as a rebel. Therefore, Korach and those who followed him must vanish from this earth. Magically, the earth started to tremble, and a hole swallowed up Korach and his followers. They say if you open your mouth too wide, you might just fall in the hole. Moses and his people continued to stay on the right path as the chosen ones to the land of milk and honey. My Torah portion is a good reminder to not follow the bad examples in life, such as some of the Israelites did with Korach. I realize that if we follow rebellious behavior and not follow our guts, there can be severe consequences. In this story, the earth swallowed up Korach and his followers. But let's be truthful. I don't necessarily think the earth would swallow us up. It is important to follow my gut, and all of my family and friends should do the same, because this skill that we all have can really benefit us in the future. Korach and his people did not follow their gut and stay on their path. Those who continued their journey, listened to Moses and Adonai, lived a happy and peaceful life. As I hope for myself and my family and friends that we can do so as well. So, moving on, I always get this question, Ryan, you're almost a bat mitzvah. How do you feel? Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out. I feel becoming a bat mitzvah is a responsibility to look after the people who are younger than me and to educate any who have questions, to be a leader, like Moses and how he led and taught his people. Yes, there will be evils like Korach and how he got in Moses' way, but in my world today, it is more like getting through school and trying your hardest, even though there are many obstacles, activities, and friends that could distract you. In my lifetime, I have struggled and gone through hardships, just like Moses. There have been losses in my family and hard times to get through, but honestly, many people face challenges. I think becoming a bat mitzvah is not only a title, it is showing people how far you've come and how you would like to participate and support the Jewish community. For my Tikkun Olam project, I walked for the City of Hope, a walk in honor of my mom who battled cancer. I raised a lot of money and awareness to help fight women's cancers. While I was walking, there were people in the hospitals waving and holding up thank you signs. It meant everything to me. It felt good to give back, help others, and walk for those who are fighting for their lives. I would very much like to say thank you to the people who have helped me through this bat mitzvah process. Rabbi Vogel, Hazan Stein, Hazan Mimi, Rabbi Galko, and Rabbi Adam. For my Jewish education and journey to this day, to my mom and dad, thank you so much for loving me, guiding me, supporting me, and making this day possible. Asher and Connor, you are the best brothers a girl can ask for. Thank you for making me laugh and playing with me when I needed to take a break from my studying. This is a day I will never forget. Thank you to everybody here today. I appreciate all of you so much.
All right, it's the blessing now. The blessing.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah. Vayomer Moshe el Korach Shemunah v'nei Levi ahat mikem ki hiftiyo Elohei Yisrael etchem me'adat Yisrael lahakriv etchem alav le'hafod et avodat mishkan Adonai v'la amod livnei ha'adal eshartam v'yakrivu techa v'et kol achecha v'nei Levi ita uvikashtem gam kehuna lachen אתה וכל עבדך הנועדים על אדוני והרון מהו כי תלינו עליו וישלח משה לקרוא לדנתן ולאבירם בני אליאב ויאמרו לו נעלה המעט כי העליתנו מארץ זבת חלב ודבש להמיתנו במדבר כי תשתרר עלינו גם התשתרר. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, Ulechal Yisrael. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, Ulechal Yisrael. Rabbi Melech Yisrael, Rabbi Mekaya. Rabbi Melech Yisrael, Rabbi Mekaya. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov,
How you feeling? Better?
A bit.
A bit. Isn't that funny? At the end, we knew you were going to happen with that blessing, right? The melody, the different melody like that.
Yeah.
You just never know. It's been a long time coming. You know the history of with your family. Your mother's bat mitzvah, there was a very, very, very young rabbi who was part of that, who was me, at your mother's bat mitzvah, which is hard to imagine. When they look at your mother, it's easy to imagine, right, that she just had her bat mitzvah 10 years ago, but it's much harder to imagine for me. And then to come to relationship with your dad and to just have a special relationship through the good moments and through the challenging moments. And you've talked about that. It's about how you look at life. You know that. And your parents have tried to endow you with this idea that you can't control what life gives you, but you can control the way that you respond and how you take that challenge. And it's how you handle it up here. There are a couple times when you paused, we had to find the right place that was our doing, not having it open to the right place, and you went with it, right? You didn't fold under that pressure. And that's really remarkable. We're standing in front of a very important Torah here at the synagogue, right? Dedicated by the Finkelstein family, and we took it out special for today. It's not part of our usual Torah reading cycle, but for this family and their connections, we took it out in order that you should have, because it's about the relationships and connections. And I was at the bris and baby naming of your brothers, and didn't seem to stop them from throwing candy at me. I'm going to get you back later, by the way. You Connor, I'm getting you, don't worry. And the idea of being able to engage life, of being able to find how we can bring holiness and goodness, it just seems to come naturally to you, which I'm not sure how hard you try. The truth of the matter is, you and I have this wonderful relationship. I think it took about 10 years for me to get you to talk to me finally. I think Sarah was, I think she finally about the time she was 10 years old. And you have this beautiful voice, and that you shared. I don't know if you could hear yourself. When you really got comfortable, that voice just boomed out. You just watch everything in life, Ryan. I see you looking at it and evaluating and deciding, what is it really about? And are you going to trust it or not? Or are you going to fight it or not? Right? How are you going to engage? And I want you to always remember your Torah reading. Because this rebellion of Korach, I don't know if you know, is very famous amongst the rabbis. In fact, when they talk about the controversies of life that are like the most sacred and then the least sacred, that are the most deceitful and dishonest, the most positive relationships, these rabbis, Hillel and Shammai, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, who debated each other right over the years, 2,000 years ago, and they always disagreed with each other, but they did it with love, and they did it with respect. And then the rabbis say, what is a conflict that is not l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven? They say it's Korach. And why do they say Korach is so bad? Here's what's so bad about Korach. Korach pretended to care about other people, right? He said to Moses, right, who are you to take the authority of the people, right? The people want the power. He didn't care about the people. He just cared about Korach. And the rabbis say, when you're only concerned about yourself and you're pretending that you're actually for other people, that's the most dangerous type of people. Those are not honest dialogues. We live in a time, Ryan, you know, in which people don't engage very well in dialogue, do we? All kinds of issues, politics that divide us. You have a heart that's a good heart, a heart that knows how to be kind, and I just hope you can bring that kindness into this world to make a difference, to tell people, guys, just be good to each other, appreciate your blessings, and be able to get along together. I'm going to share with you a blessing. It's been given for thousands of years for people called the priestly blessing. It goes like this. Yavarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, ya'er nai panav elecha v'chuneka, yisad nai panav elecha v'esem lecha shalom. Ryan Holtzman, may you always have God's presence in your life. May you bring that sanctity into this world. May you, with that golden heart that you have, may you help to bring goodness and peace into this world, and let us all say, Amen. I'm going to have you can go down. I'm going to have your brothers come up here. Come on, join me over here. All right, come here. I've got this for you. All right, stand up there. Come here. All right, who's holding this? We practice this. There you go. Okay. Take off the mask.
Okay, our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land.
Thank you. You made it. Give him a hand. Go ahead. All right, I'd like to call forward, we're going to put away the Torah at this time. We're going to call forward Darren, Cindy, Dylan, Carly, and Blake. If you'll come forward at this time, they're going to open up the ark. Going to have you all rise, if you will, please.
Eitz Chaim hi, Lamachazikim ba. kaddish
You may be seated. Chatzi Kaddish. We're back in the prayer books, page 222.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba ve'amal yifrach chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chai לעולם לעל ועומיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה
בריחו
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דעם יהירן בעלמה במהרו אמן.
We rise, please, for the Amidah. You're going to find beginning page 223, page 223, and Ryan's going to lead us in the beginning of the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdei Habot, Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hazer, Ufokei HaMoshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufokei Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atah, Rav Le'oshia, Morid Hatov, Mechokel Hayim Bechesed, Mehayei Metim Berahamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berochem Holim, Umatir Asurim, Mechayei Emunato, Mishenei Afar, Michamocha, Bahagevurot, Umidal Melech, Melech Memid, Umechayei, Umatzmiah Yeshua, Ben Ne'emoneta, Lehayot Meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaMeitim.
Kaddish Shalom 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 Kakatu B'necha V'Karl Zel Zel Yamaha.
נקדש שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo.
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך הארץ כבודו לימתם ברוך יאמרו
Baruch Adonai Mimkomo.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור
Yimloch Adonai Le'olam, Elohai Sion, V'dor Bador, Hallelujah.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש
The Amidah continues silently, Hebrew or English, or if you prefer, private prayers and meditations of your heart.
Shalom bimrama, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Kaddish Shalom, page 230.
יתגלה לי קדש שמי רבה, ועמדי ורכילותי, וימליך מלכותי בחייכון, וימלכון וחייכון לבית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך, לעד לעלמיה יתברך, וישתבח ויתפאר וג'מע מתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושפחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון ודהון לכל בית ישראל קדום ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
We rise for Aleinu, please. Page 231. Ryan will lead us.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai himloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, le'melech ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, v'yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. So nice to share with friends and family that are here. Think of family. You can go down. That's okay, Ryan. And Jan and Paul, it's nice to share with you, right? And through these great celebrations of life. And Sarah, we're mindful, and Jeffrey and Jonathan, of your parents, of Reem and Bob, who I knew well, and who I adored, and were two such special people, and continue to inspire their grandchildren, certainly their children, but even their grandchildren, even though they're not here. Because I know their memories live within your families, and I know that specialness and their spirit still is present. I feel it today. And in honor of that, I'm going to have the three of you come up, and you're going to actually lead us in the Mourner's kaddish. So you can join us over here at the table. And it's not just we're cognizant of your parents, but there's others as well in the family who have yortzites. I think your grandmother is a yortzite, and another special yortzite as well in the family. So if anybody has the need or desire to recite the Mourner's kaddish, and by the way, those of you at home as well, if there's somebody who's reciting kaddish, you're invited to rise with us. On page 232, you will find the words of the kaddish. Those reciting are going to join together with Sarah, Jonathan, and Jeffrey. Again, page 232. Go ahead.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba,
Amen.
ve'alma yibrach yidutei ve'yamlich mamtutei, v'chayakon v'momechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman karib v'emru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'elam olamei almaya, יתברך, יתשלח, יתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, יתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה, בריחו. לעלמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום.
Amen. May God who establishes peace in the heavens grant peace and harmony for us, for all of Israel, for all of humanity, as we say, Amen. All right, Jeffrey and Jonathan, I ask you to go down. Sarah, you can stay up here because Todd, you're going to come on up, and Ryan and Connor and Asher, all right, you're going to have you all join us up here. Come on. Because this is what we call a Shechianu moment, a moment where we sanctify time. So I want you all to rise, please. And put your books, whatever you're holding, put them on your chair, all right? So I want you, whatever family unit you have next to you, I want you to put your arms around them, all right? By the way, just one arm. If you have two around the same person, you're a little too close together. So just one. But there's a beautiful moment of Shechianu. We want to feel the love. Get the Holtzman family up here. Come on, get your arms around each other. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu
Mazal Tov!
Sieben Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Sieben Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Sieben Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Sieben Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecha Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecha Yisrael.
Kids, you can come up and get the candy. Come on. Melech Yisrael. All the kids can come on up and get the candy.
Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.